Alright, so I just video recorded a large portion of my October TBR to have my dog then take off and knock down some sort of something in the kitchen and run around with it. So I'm here to re-record my October TBR. I don't often do a TBR because I'm a mood reader. I tend to just kind of pick things off the shelf. I have enough shelves. This is just a very small portion of the books that I have. I have a humongous IKEA shelf downstairs, 2 of them in fact, so slightly ridiculous, but what can you do? Anyhow, so I'm going to try to stick to these 11 books that are here. I'm not going to get to all 11 of them. It's just, with my schedule right now, it's almost impossible. I'm back to teaching grade 1, and it's full-time. It's always been full-time, but I had the summer off. I had a little bit more time to read. Now I'm getting back into the swing of things with work, and I've got some family issues going on. So I really highly doubt that I'm going to get all 11 of these read. That being said, I'm going to try my best, and I'm going to pick the books that I read out of this pile unless I see something else on my shelf that kind of calls to me. But I think I have a pretty good selection here. I'll start off with a book that I'm currently reading, and that is This Is Where I Leave You. And just to show you the naughtiness of my dog, you can see, I know it's a shame the dog ripped the cover. At least it's just the cover. He has destroyed many a books. He's a little bit naughty. Still he's just getting out of his puppy phase, so I can't really blame him too much. That being said, so This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper is really good so far. I've read this much. He just has this way of writing that he's writing about some serious things, but he writes it in such a humorous way. He adds in all these little quirky things that happen to the family in the story, and it just, you can't help but laugh out loud in some of them. And so follows this man, Judd Foxman, who's just walked in on his wife having an affair with his boss, like mid-sex. I can't even imagine. And so he's going through some crazy stuff. His father passes away, and him and his 3 siblings have to sit Shiva with his mother for 7 days. And it kind of gets into their antics and deals with some of the stuff that happened in the past, some of the stuff that's happening right now, just kind of a little bit crazy family drama, which I can definitely relate to. And it's actually a movie right now that's out in the theater starring Jason Bateman. I think, what's her name? I can't picture her in my head. There's quite a few actors and actresses in this movie. Jane Fonda was who I was thinking of as a mother. So I can't wait to finish reading this so that I can actually go see the movie, because the movie looks hilarious too. So there's this. Secondly, I have Horror Store, and that is by Grady Hendrix. I was actually posted this as my waiting on Wednesday one week, and Eric Smith from Quirk Books contacted me and was like, hey, I've got a copy here for you. I'm going to send it to you in the mail, and let me know what you think, which was awesome. I live in Canada, so I find that we don't often get a lot of contact with the American publishers, which is fine. We have the Canadian ones, which are, they're great. I love working with the people in the Canadian publishing houses, but I find I don't often have contact with the American publishers, so this was really nice to get. And essentially, it's like a horror store in IKEA, and you could see that it looks exactly like an IKEA catalog. And then on the back, you've got all these creepy things, the hands and the pictures, and it's kind of set up like an IKEA, like you've got the floor plan here. I don't know, it looks super interesting, and you could see like there's only writing on partial pages, so I don't think it's going to take too long to get through this. It's only about 200 and some pages, 240 or so, and I think a good October pick, seeing as how Halloween is coming. Third, I have a book that's been featured on my book hauls, and that's Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. This just came out. I'm pretty bad at getting my reviews done on time, but hopefully I'll get this one done. It's humongous, but I don't think it'll take too long. It's essentially, as I said before, a story within a story, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. Thirdly, I've got Ashes to Ashes by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian, and this is the third in a trilogy. it's essentially, I don't want to give too much away, but essentially it's 3 unlikely friends become friends so that they can get revenge on certain people, different people in their lives. And book 2 kind of had a bit of a crazy plot twist in it, and I can't wait to see exactly how this is going to conclude. I really like the writing. I mean, I haven't disliked any of Jenny Han's writing thus far, so I can't imagine not liking this one. Next up is a book that came out, I think, yesterday or today, and that is Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. And if you're not sure who that is, this is her. She's the star, producer, and writer of the show Girls, which I really like. It's humorous, and it kind of deals with, you know, your late 20s or mid-20s, and you're not quite a kid anymore. You're not an adult either. You're kind of waiting around in adulthood because you kind of feel like an imposter a little bit. You know, you're not quite there yet. You're dealing with boys, you're dealing with new jobs, you're dealing with your parents and living on your own maybe. And it's just quirky and fun. And so this is just a collection of short essays. And I think it'll be super cute. The inside is gorgeous. Look at the inside flap there. So I'm looking forward to it. Next is a book. I adored the first book in this. I don't know if it's a duology or a series. I'm not sure exactly what the writer's going to do with it. This one is The Rosie Effect by Graham Simpson. Or Simpson? And essentially, it's the second to the Rosie Project. So it's a sequel to the Rosie Project, which is it's just so good. You need to read that book if you haven't read it yet. It's about a man who's got Asperger's, which is it's like on the autism spectrum. So high functioning, but very, you know, rigid in their schedule and lots of different quirks. So it's told in his narration, and I listened to the audio, and it's just bang on. And I found myself even like giggling on the way to work listening to this thing. And I can't wait to see what happens next. He's essentially got Rosie. They're moving to New York City, and she informs him that she is pregnant. So I think I'm just looking forward to the antics that this main character goes through dealing with a huge event in his life that's going to change pretty much everything. So schedule's out the door maybe a little bit. Next up is Adult Onset by Anne-Marie MacDonald. Anne-Marie MacDonald is one of my favorite authors. She is Canadian. She's well known enough in Canada, but I find out a lot of people that I know have read her books, which are Fall on Your Knees and The Way the Crow Flies, I think. Both of those books I adored, and in fact I think I want to reread Fall on Your Knees because it's been a long time since I've read it. And they're gritty, they're dark, a lot of family trauma in the books, but super, super well written. And this one I think is going to prove to be good as well. We'll see. It's about a woman who, her and her partner have 2 children. Her partner's working all the time, so she's essentially given up her career to stay at home, to raise the kids, to take care of the house, and things get super, super stressful, and an illness that she had as a child is resurfacing, and it's her dealing with that and dealing with family. And it doesn't get into too much, but I imagine there's going to be some shocking things in here because I've never read a book of hers that I hasn't been shocking. And also look at how beautiful this is. Look at this is the inside. Yay for hardcovers with like gorgeous insides. Next is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This was super popular for a while. I mean, it still is probably, but it's essentially about I don't know if post-apocalyptic, but it's kind of a different sci-fi feel to it. So people are going to inhabit Mars, and they have a caste system based on colors, and the reds are the lowest of this caste, and they essentially work underground to try to get more Mars to be inhabitable by human beings. And they've been doing this for years and years, waiting for the humans to come, and one of the guys figures out like, oh, the humans are already here, so what are we doing? We're essentially slaves for the rest of the people, and he wants to rise up and try to shake things up a little bit. So that's this one. Another kind of sci-fi, I don't know if it's sci-fi, but yeah, sci-fi I would say, is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This has been getting a lot of buzz on the blogosphere lately. A lot of people have been reading it and saying how good it is. And I saw it at the store and obviously picked it up. And essentially what it is, it's about a boy set way in the future. So it's 2044 and he's really into online gaming, or I don't know if it will be online, but gaming. And he gets into this little game and it's all these little kind of puzzles that he has to figure out, and he realizes that all these other people are playing this game as well, and the stakes are super high and there must be some sort of big reward at the end, but lots of people, it's actually dangerous. People are willing to kill or be killed for the ultimate prize in this game. So there's that one. I only have 2 more left. And one of them is Game by Barry Lyga. The third in this is a second in a trilogy. The third one just came out. It's about a boy, Jazz, who's the son of a notorious serial killer. And I can't give too much away about the second book without revealing what happened in the first book, but suffice it to say, he's kind of trying to deal with his identity and figure out, like, almost like prove that he is not going to follow in his father's footsteps. Nature versus nurture kind of thing. And I don't know, I've heard nothing but good things. I really liked the first book. I have no idea why it's taken me this long to pick up the second book. But once I read this, I suspect I'll want to read the third one right away. And last but not least, I have The Return by Jason Mott. This has been turned into a TV show, and I don't know if it's called The Return or something else, but it's about a bunch of people have started coming back from the dead. So they've been dead for a long time, and then they show up alive at people's homes. So it's different. I think it's, I don't know if it's told in different narrators or different narratives or how it's done exactly, but I know there are different storylines going on along here, trying to figure out how are these people back alive, what happened to them, where did they go in the meantime, are they still dead, or is this some sort of messed up joke, or I guess not joke, but you know what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, it looks interesting. It's from Harlequin, came out a couple years ago, and yeah. So those are the 11 books that I have. I also listen to a lot of audiobooks, so I've got a few from the library. I don't know if I'll get to these or what. I'm listening to Sinner right now by Maggie Stiefvater, and I really like that one. I wasn't a huge fan of the Wolves of Mercy Hall series. I don't know, I don't know what it was. I love her writing. I love the way that she describes things. I love the language that she uses. Love the Raven Boy series, but that series for me, the Wolves of Mercy Hall series, was just kind of meh. I didn't hate them. I didn't love them. They were good to read at the time, but then meh. And so Sinner I'm really liking a lot more than the other ones, and follows Cole and Isabel. I don't know, it's kind of different. It doesn't focus entirely on the werewolf aspect. It's more about their lives, and I kind of like that a little bit better. But I also have We Are Water by Wally Lamb. This is not by any means what the cover looks like. The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. April from Good Books and Good Wine always talks about this online, and I don't know, thought I would try it out. It's high octane fantasy, so we'll see. And Being Sloane Jacobs. So essentially that's it for me. This is a lot of books. I'm not going to get them all done. I'm going to see how this goes. I don't know if I'm going to post one of these every month. I'll try to do a wrap-up though, maybe every month. I always have higher aspirations for the blog, and I get really good and post lots and do some videos, and then life gets in the way, and life has been pretty crazy since August, so I'll try. That's all I could say. It's a hobby. It doesn't have to be every day. I'm not going to stress about it. If you want to see more videos, let me know, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you are reading this month. Happy reading.